Okay, Trek fans, you know him as Dr. Roger Corby, not the android from TOS, but the real one from Strange New Worlds in Wedding Bell Blues. Cillian O'Sullivan, welcome to Trek Untold. Good to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
So, I want to know, were you a Star Trek fan growing up, or is this like a completely new franchise for you to be into?
I was a massive Trekkie. I grew up in a household where Star Trek: The Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, the original series was always on the TV. I mean, like my old man was a massive Trekkie, and I got into it very young. I used to dress up as Riker. I used to have the uniform and make sure that it had the three yokes, the three insignias on it, as opposed to the four. And a massive Trekkie, and all the movies, all the Next Generation movies, the original series, and getting a part in Star Trek was just insane. Like my mind was blown. I was really hoping that my agents wouldn't, I don't know, ask for too much money or something. I was like, listen, guys, if they're offering me €10, we're taking it. You know what I mean? I was like, we're not going to mess this up. So it was just a massive, massive moment, both in my career and my life, to have anything to do with Star Trek.
That's very cool. I'm excited to hear that you actually are like such a deep fan there. You were even cosplaying back in the day. That's so fun.
Yeah,
Now,
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I
we're
mean, I
talking
watch
about
YouTube videos about the lore, about I mean, I'm a massive
you're
Star
hardcore.
Trek. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, the character you're playing, Dr. Corby, he really only appears once ever in TOS in the episode What Are Little Girls Made Of? And his character, he's kind of just like a textbook bad guy. It is what it is, but your version has to be different because on paper it is a different character, really. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to know, like, did any of Michael Strong's original performance influence what you did here, or do you just kind of start with a blank slate?
Well, so Michael Strong's performance with Corby, there's so many things that are different now about Corby. Like even like the accent, like to make him Irish was a specific decision. Um, like when I did the audition, we did American English, we did Irish, we just throw it because I think from the initial audition when I didn't actually know who it was, they said do a take American and then do a take in your own accent. And I ended up, I think, doing it like a classic like selfish actor. I think I did one South African, one my own accent, and one American. I just because all I knew was that he was this rough and tumble archaeological guy and I was like, oh, okay, I'll do one in the South African. So I sent these options, and once we like I didn't find out really what accent we were doing until I was literally in the car with my dog on the way to Toronto from New York to start filming, and I was like, who what are we doing? And Akiva called me, Akiva Goldsman, because I was asking people about this, and he wanted to talk to me about it. And I was like rushing out the door, and my accent was particularly strong because I was flying out the door. I was like, Keith, I'll call you later. I'm rushing out the door. And then he just texted me. He's like, look, we're going to do it Irish. We'd like to do a polyglot of accents. We already have English. We already have this. So we just did it Irish. And I had some, I didn't really want to do my own accent because accents have become a crutch for me in the last few years because I've done, I was a series regular in a show for 6 months where I had to do an American accent, and then 90% of my auditions after that were American accented, and then there's British, like even Devlin. Sorry, the last guy was talking to me about this.
Daredevil Born
Barber
Again?
show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was Northern Irish like? I did a TV series in Berlin a couple of years ago. Again, 6 months, but a Dublin accent. I'm from Cork, and so like my own accent as Corby was just it was really bothering me that I didn't have this aspect of an accent to like help deliver what I was saying. But in the end, I'm very happy that they made him Irish and that they made him like my kind of Irish. And but anyway, that's a long side tangent all to say that like it's already very different. Um, the Michael Strong's Corby is where Roger Corby ends up going, right? Like that is Android Corby. Like this is real Corby. This is where he was in the past. Like you know, I just had to focus on who is he now, what does the writing say he is, and what am I going to bring to it. But I do think that there is a certain type of darkness in Corby. If you're going to pursue what he pursued and got himself into the position that he got himself in, there has to be some level of obsession, a level of willingness to, take risks and maybe put people at risk that he shouldn't be putting, at risk. So the darkness is going to be there. Not that he's a bad guy, but yeah. So It's like this version of Corby we're seeing now is just what I saw in the writing and where he's at currently, and we only know where he's going with with Michael Strong's version.
Well, now I'm very curious to see where the season's going to go because I'm really
Yeah,
enjoying what you're doing with the character, and I'm very excited to see what more we're going to get because Corby's character is so, like I said, one episode, so we've got some more time to
yeah.
play with him, and you're doing a great job, so I'm loving
Thank
it
you.
so far.
I really appreciate
Um,
that. Thank you.
and I'm also digging, you and Jess Bush, wonderful, but
Yeah,
you and Ethan Peck, that's like for me, that's the stars going off in the universe, that's explosions. I
yeah,
would love to hear a little about this frenemy relationship that Corby and Spock have, and how
yeah.
you and Ethan Peck kind of found your rapport to work together.
Well, like I've said, I'm almost surprised. Like, obviously, me and Jess did like a chemistry reading before I was offered the part and stuff, and but it was almost like once I got the episodes and stuff, I was like, it's interesting that me and Ethan didn't do a chemistry read as well. But we just as people like hit it off straight away. Like, he's the first guy I did a scene with. My first scene was walking down the hallways of the Enterprise with Spock, and so I was telling Ethan like about like I was like, dude, I'm freaking out. This is crazy, and he was just very much kind of there for me in that moment. And Ethan is just such a personable guy. Like he how like if you don't like Ethan, there's something wrong with you. Like, you know what I mean? He's just such a good dude. He goes out of his way to make you feel welcome. And we just have we have a similar sense of humor, and we play well off each other. Like Cillian and Ethan play well off each other, and so that just luckily played into Corby and Spock. But I think that the chemistry had to have been there in the writing. Um, it was there for us to mine as actors, and it was just already there. But thankfully, the casting of myself worked out, and we did have chemistry on screen. Obviously, I'm biased, but I did feel like we
I'll
did have
agree.
chemistry. So yeah,
Well, from one Trekkie to another, the big talk about this episode has been the fact that there's the connection between Trelane and now with Q. I'm kind of curious now because you're on the back side of things. You get to know things we don't know. In
yeah.
the script, how were these characters labeled? Were you aware of what was going on when you were doing this?
I just knew I was told on set that Darby was Trelane, and I remember losing the plot. I was like, "What?" And I remember going like, "I'm in an episode with Trelane, right?" And then some of my favorite episodes, everybody's favorite episodes, a lot of the time from the Next Generation, are ones with John Delancey and when Q comes into things. They're always like the most like sci-fi mystery, like like when he sends I think it's called maybe it's called Hide and Q. I could be wrong, but when he sends the Enterprise out into the Delta Quadrant and they meet the Borg for the first time, those episodes are just so good. I always loved Q, and I always loved the notion of this species that just knows everything about the universe and kind of has ultimate power. And so to just be a part of an episode that had Q in it, even just at the end, or it's not like really said that it's Q, but it's John Delancey's voice, and also, like I've always followed the theories that Trelane was maybe a Q. So again, to just be part of like that happening was just unbelievable. And I kind of just couldn't really believe it that I was reading this episode and things were coming together and then being told on set that he was Trelane. And yeah, it was madness, absolute madness for my brain to take in.
I mean, I love that that's happening to someone who is such a deep Trek fan. That's so great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just last thing, Killian, because I know we got to wrap this up here. One of the other big talking points for this episode for fans was how even 300 years in the future, George Michael and WHAM persists, and we've got "Wake Me Up Before You Go Sing" happening at the end of the big dance party. I'm
Yeah.
just curious now, again, just some inside baseball talk here. Was that song actually playing when you guys were dancing? Was there
Yes, it
something
was.
different, or was there nothing?
Yeah, no, it was playing because we had to rehearse the dances and we knew what song we were going to be dancing to. And so even when we were doing the rehearsals, um, and it was playing on the set too when we were having the big wedding scene. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So George Michael continues on into
Oh
23rd
yeah.
century and beyond. That's
He'll
cool.
he'll be there for a long time. He'll be who are those boys that have the time ships from like the 29th century or something like that? George Michael will still be playing when the Federation is running around policing the timeline.
I mean,
So he'll
honestly,
be around
that's
for a
that's
minute.
all I care about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, Killian, as we wrap up here, just one last thing here. We're still a few episodes before the end of the season. Anything
Yeah.
you can tease to us about what we might be seeing out of Dr. Corby?
Anything we can tease. When is this airing? Is it airing
This will be airing
after
this
episode
week,
five? This week? After episode five or before?
after episode 5.
Okay. Well, you definitely see the we'll say this. Aside from Corby, I think we were introduced to a new villain in episode five, maybe in the Star Trek universe. Whatever happens, I want to see more from the Vesda, and from Corby. you just have to tune in. I just can't give anything away. Just keep tuning in, and I think that you see both sides of Corby very heavily in 302 and 305, and yeah, just make sure to keep tuning in each week because this is a particularly good season of Trek.
I would definitely agree, and I'm loving what you're doing. I can't wait to see what else happens with Dr. Corby, and likewise see more of you as well. So, Cillian,
I
thank you so much for your
appreciate
time
that.
today. You've been
Thank you,
great.
Matthew. Have a good one.
Trek Untold, the Star Trek podcast that goes beyond the stars, is powered by the Rageworks Podcast Network and affiliated with Nerd News Today.